Okay, we're here to look at the solo in Something Happened on the Way to Heaven from Phil Collins. The solo, of course, by Daryl Stuermer. Now, on my cover, I included some live licks that Daryl would do, which are quite tricky, really fun to play though, and they're probably the main reason why this was requested to do a tips video on. So, of course, I'm glad to hopefully help you play along. Now the notation I'm referencing is of course on my Patreon, and I'll put a link in the description, or you can try and follow along with this video. So I'll play through the solo that's on the album at a moderate pace. There's a couple of tricky fingerings in there, but it's mostly self-explanatory, and then I'll move on to the hard live licks. But the main solo on the record is something like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the album portion I play, then I go on to the kind of fast stuff. Now, I mean, that sounds pretty self-explanatory, but there is a couple of tricky parts in there that maybe don't seem quite as obvious. We're playing in this, kind of like a C minor pentatonic blues shape. We've got this blues note here on the 11th fret of the G. And what we're doing is, we get a descending lick, like on the start of bar 2, we're doing this. And it's very tricky to go from the 10th of the D to the 10th of the G, like one after the other, like that. And I realised that, I mean, up to speed, you might not hear it. It's slowed down, I'm shortening the length of that 10th fret of the D, and I'm muting all the strings with kind of both my right and my left hand. Okay. And we're doing the same thing there on bar 3. We're going up the scale. We're bending that 10th fret of the G. Then we're going from that straight away using our same finger to the 11th of the B. I'm employing the same technique. Slightly shortening the length of the 10th fret, muting all the strings, and then hitting the 11th of the B. Now up to speed, you want to try and have it so it's not noticeable that's what you're doing. But you kind of have to do that in order to make those notes come through as clean as they could be, especially if we're using those fingerings. And you might think, well, why don't you just use a different type of fingerings? But I think that's the best way to do it, if you follow me with that. After that, we have kind of pull off lick with a blues note. Nothing much to say there. We kind of change our home position for that slide. Then we move on to the live licks. Now this opening one is a really cool descending scale run. But it's quite good because Daryl picks certain sequences and he misses out other sequences. Well, he only misses out one sequence. But really what we're doing is we're just kind of going down a certain sequence down the scale, mostly on the same string. So I'll play what the sequence is very slowly, and I'll break down maybe a couple exercises that can help you build up the speed and the fingerings for this. So the sequences are like this basically. So he's going. So we're kind of going down that like E flat major kind of shape there. But notice that if we're to just continue down the scale, normally doing that sequence, we do this. But that shape there, 15, 13, 11, he actually misses that out. So he goes from 16, 15, 13, misses out, and then does 13, 11, 10. And that just makes it seem less of like, oh, he's doing a scale run type thing. even though that he is kind of doing that, it just gives it a different type of character. You know, sometimes missing out certain notes helps the solo sound better in a way. Now, in order to kind of help you get used to doing these type of scale runs and sequences, what I used to do, I'm not sure why, but I used to like trying to go up one string and just go up one string in the scale, kind of like this, you know. If I stay in the same scale shape, it's like, you know, and then go down. I used to like doing that, and I think that really helped kind of get into the groove of this, because I used to find as well that whenever I was having to finger and go from my third finger to my fourth finger, or your ring finger to your pinky, I always used to find that I was very weak. I'd always try and supplement it by doing, you know, either second finger and third finger, or second finger and fourth finger, you know. But going between the third and the fourth, I just couldn't do. So doing something like this kind of helped me strengthen that. And it's still very weak in comparison to my other fingers, but you kind of need it for this solo. Because up to speed, it's certainly quite tricky. Let me see if I can do it up to speed. I'll do the lick beforehand. So. Okay, I was maybe not quite there, but you know, muscle memory's definitely helped me out there. Like I said, that one of the biggest things is, apart from the fingerings, is getting that jump. Then on that last sequence, you're going from triplets into 30-second notes in order to fit that in. In terms of picking, I don't think I'm picking exactly every single note as they should be. I might be over picking. Yeah, I think I'm over picking, trying to just get in a certain smooth flowingness. But yeah, try and maybe just, you know, relax your right hand and get used to maybe trem picking like that. And if you want, try and introduce that exercise of going up the scale, you know, trying to do something like you know, it's something like that, just to kind of help your fingers get used to it. It doesn't have to be exact. You can build up to that eventually. Okay, so after that, I'm kind of doing just my own little thing, a couple of kind of double stop dyad type chords. Then this next part is another Daryl lick that I used. You know, that idea of you're going back to that first note. You know, something you might find in the it's used on a couple of the Skid Row solos. Scotty Hill would use that kind of technique. You know, a bit more so in that kind of sequence. But the way Daryl does it is kind of like an offset beat. You know, it's not quite always smooth. It's that rhythm. You know, something like that. I'm trying to think if there's any techniques. I like to use my pinky just to stay on that 11th fret of the beat, the high E. And maybe bring in the pinky on the 11th fret of the B as well, although there's a couple times I noticed I was bringing in my third finger for that, and whatever suits you. Then after that, yeah, it's just more of my own little licks. And doing little licks like that towards the end. So yeah, a couple of tricky licks there, but give them a go and have fun.